Good morning, Kate here, bringing you this week's Monday Mission. This one, I'm focusing on a phrase that you may have heard before. I was actually told it by my own coach when we were applying it to something in my life. And I'm noticing some things with my clients and just the people in my own life. I'm noticing it. And so I thought it would be helpful to talk about it and give kind of a real world example of what it kind of means and then what we can do about it. Okay, so the phrase is what we resist persists. Okay, so again, it's kind of one of those things where you can like logically, intellectually understand the phrase, but then how is that showing up in my own life and what can I do about it, right? So I'm going to go through some examples. I'm going to go through an example from my own life to show you how this shows up, and then I'm going to talk about what we can do about it. Okay. So the phrase is what we resist persists. So I want you to think about, let's say we are resisting rejection. Okay, we're not putting ourselves out there. We're not reaching out to new friends. We're not, maybe we've gone through a divorce and we're just not going out there and trying to connect and date people and even meet people, right? And because we're fearful of being rejected and not being accepted. But when you think about that, so we're resisting the rejection, what we miss out on is connection, right? So what we resist persists. Rejection, not being connected with anyone, actually is what we're kind of doing the self-fulfilling prophecy for, right? It's persisting. Let's say that you're resisting to kind of branch yourself out, right? Whether it's try a new job or a new hobby or something that you think in your mind could lead to some type of embarrassment, right? Maybe it's leading a professional development day in your job, or it's taking an exercise class that you really want to try, right? You might be resisting the feeling of embarrassment because the thoughts that you're telling yourself, if I do this thing and I don't do well at it, then I'm embarrassed or I'll feel embarrassed, right? What you're resisting though is the opportunity to feel proud about something that you did, right? And have that self-trust, okay? And when you trust yourself that you'll be okay in any situation, you don't have embarrassment. But we'll never get to the opportunities to actually form that trust, so our embarrassment continues, right? What we resist persists. I'll do one more example and then I'll talk about one in my own life. But let's say that you kind of resist looking in the mirror, right? You just really don't like your reflection. You think that that's a way to avoid your inner critic and you beating yourself up about what you see in the mirror and your body and how you look in certain clothes, how you're aging, whatever it might be. When you resist actually looking at yourself, that's going to persist, okay? Because what you're actually resisting then and missing out on is the opportunity for self-acceptance, right? To start accepting your wrinkles and gray hair and saggy skin or the weight gain that you had from giving birth or, whatever it is. You are resisting all of those opportunities to find self-acceptance, which is truly what you want, right? So often what we resist is it doesn't give ourselves the opportunity to get the thing that we actually want, to get the connection, to get the self-trust and being able to feel proud and accomplished, and then to get the self-acceptance. Okay, so let me show you how this kind of showed up in my life. And I hated this phrase. I hated this phrase when I heard it because it's true and because it showed me that I had to do a lot of work, right? So how this kind of showed up in my own life, my oldest has sort of developed this aversion to math especially, but doing homework and to school overall, right? So he has really kind of developed a negative mindset around school in general, having to do homework, and then his ability to do math, okay? And my response to this was to get more stringent about doing homework, right? I was checking his grades more often if things were turned in, kind of continuously asking, questioning him. Is this due? Did you turn that in? What assignments do we need to do? When's your next test? Do you feel comfortable with this skill or we should practice it, right? So that was my response to it. I was resisting him hating school. And guess what happened? He started to say he hated school even more. Right? So what you resist persists. I was resisting him hating school and thought that I could somehow control that, right? I could set up the environment. I could work with him more. I could give him thought reframes about school. And then if I do all those things, then I will make him love school. Can't happen, right? I can't make anyone do anything else, okay? We can influence as parents. But we literally cannot force them or control them or force them and make them do anything that they don't want to do, okay? So what I had to do as the work here is I had to figure out why I was resisting it. And I was resisting it, right? His thoughts about school and hating math and hating homework. I was resisting it because of the story I was telling myself about it. Okay. So the story I told myself is that if he hates school, that automatically means I'm a bad mom, right? I didn't model the importance of education for him enough, right? It also means I'm a bad school psychologist because how could a school psychologist's kid hate school, right? Again, they should value the learning that they're getting and why it's so important, and right? So I had that layer to it. And then I would add to the meaning or the story that it's because of the divorce. It's because I'm a single mom and I can only do so much. And I have to run to soccer and karate, and I have to, help his brother with the homework and do, everything around the house and my own job, and right. And so then it would be some blame and shame that it's because of the divorce. He would love school if we weren't divorced and if I wasn't a single mom, right? He'll drop out and be living in my basement. That's another part of the story that I add to it, right? He will hate school, so he won't do the work, so he'll fail, so he won't graduate, he'll drop out, he won't go to college, and he'll be living in my basement forever, right? So because I was approaching him, and his resistance to school with this energy created by the story I'm telling myself, right? Is that I'm a bad mom, I'm a bad school psychologist, it's because I'm a single mom and he's going to fail and be living in my basement. How do you think I showed up in any time there was a conversation about school or math or homework, right? Not from the best place, right? So I had to realize I cannot control any of that. And because I am resisting him hating school so much, I am actually contributing to it, right? Because I had to ask myself, could he do well in school and still not find a job and enjoy, find something that he's passionate about and still end up living at home with me? Could that still happen? Absolutely, right? Is there in any universe, would me constantly questioning him about school make him love school? Make him want to do well, want to do the homework, see the value in it? Not in any universe is that going to be true. All right. So again, it was how I was showing up. And the way I was showing up is because I had this whole story going in my mind about this is somehow I messed up. And if I had done better, he wouldn't hate school, right? So what can we do about it? If you're finding this in your own life, if you find yourself resisting something or just really coming up against something, you want to ask yourself, what am I resisting? What is the story I'm telling myself? You've got to get curious about why this is coming up for you, right? What is the story? What is the meaning that you're attaching to this? What are you making this mean about you? About your ability? What story are you telling yourself, right? That is contributing to this resistance, which is making the thing that you're actually trying to avoid come to life, right? It's that self-fulfilling prophecy. We're actually making the thing that we think we're avoiding actually show up and be there, right? And then we have to feel our feelings, right? So I had to figure out what my story was. That was my story. And then I had to get comfortable feeling maybe embarrassed or fearful, anxious, whatever the feelings that were coming up for me with that story. I had to learn to be able to feel those, let those come over me, and then realize that my thoughts create my feelings. And so if I can change my thoughts and change the story that I'm telling myself, right? Which is, are there a lot of, especially, are there a lot of boys at this age that hate school? Yeah. It has nothing to do with how good their parents are or, right? It doesn't, those are not things that that contribute to that and make or break that, right? So it's just starting to ask yourself those challenging questions then. So getting curious, what's the story? Feel the feelings that come with that, right? Because when we are resisting or avoiding something, it's because we are resisting or avoiding the feeling that we think we're going to have if that thing happens. And a lot of us don't trust that we'll be able to survive that feeling, right? Because we were never taught to feel our feelings and that it's actually okay to have negative emotions, right? It's part of being human, right? We really weren't taught that. And so we resist having to feel those feelings. So we try to prevent anything that we can that will lead to those feelings. But then we end up having those feelings anyway. We create them for ourselves. Okay, so I hope you see the connection there with the examples I gave in the beginning and then through my own story. And let me know where this is coming up for you in your own life. If you're noticing that you're resisting something and what story you're telling yourself about it, I would love to kind of walk through that with you and help you process that. So please, as always, reach out. And our journal prompt for this week is just a sentence: I am resisting, and then fill in the blank. Okay, see what it is you're resisting. Write it in there. Write a few things in there if several things are coming up for you. And just, as always, we start with awareness. You've got to be aware of what you're actually doing and thinking and what those thoughts are. What are the actual sentences in your brain that are contributing to this resistance? And then that's when you can process it and figure out what's going on. So I hope you're having a great week. Start to your week. This is your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to notice what you're resisting and what might be, or how that might be contributing to this thing persisting in your life. All right. I hope you're having a great start to your day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.